on, kiss your brain. Be a teacher like Miss Joseph. Very good. I see. Or you could be, who remembers? Say, I can be a social worker. Yes, a social worker.
Hi everyone, my name is Martinique Brown and I am the owner and founder of Today I Want to Be. We are solving the problem of kids and youth not seeing someone who looks just like them in a variety of career fields. We are a career exploration resource for parents and educators, and through our interactive products and virtual interviews, kids and youth are able to see representation of their race and gender in career fields that they may not even know about. With every product we create, from our educational aids to our apparel and accessories, we are intentional about encouraging and helping kids and youth see that they can become anything they want to be. We are the only company who not only focuses on career exploration for kids and youth, but we also give them an opportunity to ask professionals about their careers every month during our free live virtual interviews as student co-hosts. If you are looking for a company that is dedicated to helping your child or student see that they can become anything they want to be, make sure you visit todayiwanttobe.com today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Today I Want to Be Career Exploration Interview. I'm your host, Martinique Brown. I'm so excited that you guys have decided to tune into the show. Today, I'm so excited about our featured professional that we will be talking to. She is a judge and her name is Judge Linda Dunson. I'm also excited about our student co-host that's going to be joining us as well. We have Kentrell as well as Jana that is going to be talking to us as well. Now, the cool thing about this show is it's actually interactive. So you can actually post your questions and your comments in that comment field. So now if you're watching from any other page other than Martinique Y. Brown, or Today I Want to Be, our Facebook page or our YouTube page, come on over to one of those three pages or our channel, and then I can actually see your questions and comments and I can relay those to Judge Dunson as well. Now, another great thing about this show is, we want you to be able to connect with Judge Dunson. If you're in the Houston area, I'm going to give you a plug right now, Judge Dunson, because if you are in the Houston area, or, if let me just let you say, Judge Dunson, I know that you're running right now and you're in the Houston area. Can you talk to our is that what they're called? Houstonians? Houstonians. Can you talk to our Houstonians right quick?
I sure would. I love to. Hi, I'm Judge Linda Dunson. I am the presiding judge of the 309th Family District Court. In my court, we handle issues pertaining to family like divorces, adoptions, child support issues, annulments, divorces, anything that affects the family pretty much comes through the 309th and other like courts. There are 11 courts in Houston. I was elected in 2018. I was part of the Houston 19 Black Girl Magic Judges.
Nice.
Awesome. You guys really trusted me, and I have not let you down. I've been working hard to restore the courts, to bring integrity back to the bench, and make sure that everyone comes before the 309th is treated with the dignity and respect, and get a fair and just ruling, and they can leave there knowing that they were heard. And even if they don't get the ruling that they thought they should have gotten, they know that they have had impartial justice.
That's good. That's good. So now another cool thing about Judge Dunson, she actually has her contact information in that description box. So if you want to connect with her, outside of the Houston area, then you definitely can do that as well. Another great thing is Judge Dunson is featured in our career exploration product. So if you're interested in purchasing any of our products, make sure you go to that description box right there next to that little buggy cart. You can actually click on that link and see the flashcards that she is featured in as well. So now, Judge Dunson, I know that you talk to our Houstonians, but can you just let the viewers know just a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. I was born in a little small town, I would like to say a little almost backwards town in East Texas. And we were slow to do a lot of things. Our schools did not get integrated until officially integrated until up in the middle 70s.
Oh, wow.
And so I grew up being exposed to separate facilities, as such as when I went to the doctor, I would have to go to the back of the doctor's office. My mom, there was a back entrance where all the African Americans would enter, and then the front, any non-African Americans would enter through the front. Mm-hmm. And we would be seen after the doctor finished all the patients in the front. So, I'm kind of thankful that I had that experience because it gives me a little bit different perspective on life. And I left Huntsville and I came to Houston to attend college, which was a big cultural shock for me. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so, like a lot of people who come from underprivileged background, it was difficult for me. I stopped school and college, and it took me like 13 years before I got back to go back.
Really?
Yes. And during that time, though, I became a licensed cosmetologist.
This is great. We would have never known that.
And so I did that for a lot of years. And then when I decided to go to law school, I was one of the older students. I went to HBCU. I'm proud of it. It's Texas Southern University. We have a Thurgood Marshall School of Law. I attended there. It was one of the best experiences in my life because I had not had the experience. When I went to college from Huntsville, I went to it was predominantly white University of Houston at that time. And so the experiences for me that were quite different than when I went, even though I was older. Okay. And so I was there, and then I kind of mentored a lot of the young students because to some of them, I was in my 30s. So to some of them, I was a mother figure. They were like 22, just coming out of undergrad. And I've had a very rewarding legal career. I served as a president of the historical Houston Lawyers Association, which represented the African American lawyers in the Houston area, because at one point the African American lawyers were not allowed to be a member of the Houston Bar Association. So a group of lawyers got together and formed an organization, for that, I've been involved in community service almost all of my life, fighting on behalf of others. I've worked with the NAACP as the legal program director. And I've had a great career, and most of it's been spent doing poverty work. Bringing services, legal services to low income, underserved communities.
That's good. That's good. Now, I'm definitely thankful to have you just a part of the show and a part of the product as well, because, you know, it's not so many times that we have an opportunity just to talk to a judge without being in front of a judge in the courtroom. So now, Kentrell, can you just tell our viewers what grade you're in, as well as what you want to be when you grow up?
Okay, so right now I'm in 9th grade, and what I want to be when I grow up is a judge, because like most people from my community, the Black community, you know, they want to like play sports, you know, and then I just kind of like want to make a difference, you know, so, you know, like it won't be as hard as like on the other people like that are like getting time, like extra time served to them, you know, because of your race.
That is excellent. And I'm so thankful that you'll be able to have an opportunity to ask Judge Dunson just some more questions, so you can figure out, you know, I know you want to do it, but now you actually get to talk to somebody that is doing it. So I'm really thankful that you're on the show with us, Kentrell, as well. Jana, can you tell the viewers what grade you're in, as well as what you want to be when you grow up?
Yes. So I'm pretty much going to the 8th grade. So what I want to be when I grow up is an actress and a singer. And what was the other question? I'm sorry.
You answered it.
Oh, I did? Okay, I'm sorry. My brain was like,
don't worry.
And also, I like what Kentrell said, because he wants to make a difference in his community, which is good. Like, my brother wants to be a doctor and a scientist when he grows up. So.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's really good. Well, you're going to have to spread the word, Jana, because you know we have a doctor coming up in the month of November. So we're going to have to give him, you know, a part of the show as well.
I probably should.
You should.
I
should. So, Jana, you can go ahead and ask Judge Dunson your first question.
Okay, so my first question is, so I know like a lot of responsibilities judges have, but what like kind of different responsibilities do you like have as a judge?
So if you're the responsibilities that I think the most important responsibility I have is, because I'm dealing with families and children. So if you're familiar with, they call it CPS, or Department of Family and Protective Services, that's what they call it here. So we have children who come into our courts who have been suffered a lot of trauma. And so my responsibility is to make sure that I do what is the best interest of that child, whether that is returning that child home, whether if it's with a divorce, whether it's deciding the child gets to stay with mom or the child gets to stay with dad. So I have to make decisions that I think that even because the circumstances are bad, I have to try to consider what can I do to minimize the pain and suffering and that the family is going through. So that's a big responsibility, because a lot of the children that come through my court may have gone through trauma, and they may, if they're not handled correctly or decisions are not made properly for them, they could end up going into like a juvenile justice system. And that and that can lead them going to adult jail and into prison. It's like a domino effect. So I feel that when they come through me, it's very important that I let them know. I interview children a lot because it's not something that I have to do. It's something that I enjoy doing because they can best tell me how the circumstances in their life are affecting them. And if I got to make a decision concerning them, then I need to be able to listen to them to see what they feel that is important to them.
Okay, that's good.
So Kentrell, I have a question for you. What type of judge do you think you want to be? And Judge Dunson, while he's about to answer that, can you think about the types of judges there are? And if you could just let us know that. But Kentrell, you first.
Okay.
Okay. So, like the type of judge I want to be is like I want to like so like I want to help out like I want to be like the judge that like you like if you did something like that's against the law or something, you you would give them time or probation or something like that.
Okay. So now, Judge Dunson, what type of judge do you think he is referring to? And can you tell us about the different types of judges there are?
Yes. So Kentrell, he is describing what we will call a criminal judge. Okay, to deal with criminal courts. And in the criminal, you have judges who deal with misdemeanor criminal offenses. Where, say, if somebody run a stop sign, traffic ticket, stuff like that, right? And then you have judges that deal with misdemeanor crime. So say you steal something that, and the value of that is, say, $50. That's not enough, I don't think, for you to go and spend your life in prison, right? So it's called a misdemeanor. So those are judges that reside over, like we call petty crimes. And then you have judges who reside over crimes where you can be sent to prison for a year or more, which are those are called felony courts or felony judges. But so we also have judges that start at the level they're called municipal judges, which they handle incidences that affect the cities, like you didn't put money in a parking meter or your time expired, those type of things. And you have judges that are called justice of the peace. And it depends on where you live on how what the judges are called or how many levels you have. Like in a large city, you're going to have more. You're going to have justice of the peace. Justice of the peace judges, you don't have to be a lawyer here in Houston. You don't have to be a lawyer to be justice of the peace judges. We have county court, and they have county courts. They handle issues that affect the county, like maybe landlord-tenant issues. And we have district. I am in a district court. So I work for the state of Texas, but I'm positioned in Houston. So I deal with family matters of residents in Houston. And then in the state courts, you have levels. So if somebody in my court don't like what I do, they can appeal to a next level, which is called an appellate court. And then they have a Supreme Court. But in Texas, we might have Supreme Court. We might have a Supreme Court that handles civil matters or all matters, and we may have an appellate court, like a criminal court of appeals, that all criminal courts go up to it. And say you don't like that, then you can go to the federal bench, and the federal have district courts, but they handle certain regions of the federal government that you can appeal to, all the way up until you get to the Supreme Court of the United States.
That's good. That was a really good breakdown, because I did not know that there are so many different types of judges like that. But you really explained that well. So Kentrell, go ahead with your first question.
Okay, so how long did you have to go to school to become a judge?
Okay, so the credentials for becoming a judge is different depending on where you live and what is designated by that state. For Texas, because of the type of judge I wanted to be, I had to have a law degree. So you have to go 4 years of undergraduate, and you have to go 3 years of law school. Now, how long it takes you to do that 7 years is up to you.
So now, Judge Dunson, I know you said you have to have a law degree. Do you have to actually practice as a lawyer?
So it's good to practice as a lawyer.
Okay.
But it doesn't say that you have to practice. It's just say you have to have had your bar card for at least 4 years by the time that you are elected. And so you would think that you have your bar card, you would have been practicing law.
Okay.
And so that's important. But remember, I told you there are some positions of judges that you don't have to be a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
So that tells you that there are a lot of other qualities that you need other than having to be a good judge, other than having that degree. Just like Kentrell, you were saying that you had concern about people that you look and you think that the justice system is not fair, or just from what you're saying on how it punished people from different backgrounds. So one of the things for me that I thought it was very important that I had as being a judge is to have, I call it cultural capital. And that is the ability to know that different people from different walks of society have different experiences that affect their decisions and opportunities you make. And even though you feel that everybody should be treated equally, you have to bring some people up to the level first before you can say you're on an even playing field. Does that make sense to you?
What does that part mean?
Okay.
I'm sorry, Kentrell is smarter than me. I mean,
yeah.
What does that part mean?
Okay. What I'm saying is, say for instance, if you come, say somebody went to a store and they stole something, and they came before you, and somebody they stole, and you look and see what they stole, and they say, well, they stole a loaf of bread, and they stole some meat, and the things, and you look at the person, and the person looked like they're impoverished, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have to say, yes, this person did steal this, and this person must be punished. But this person starting off here. So to get this person on the same level as this other person, I have to consider that the opportunities that this person may have, the things that may talk, and I may have to have, you have to have grace. Like for me, I have discretion in a lot of things. And so I think about grace. And grace covers you on things where if a world look at you, you shouldn't be covered. Because some people look and say, well, you did the crime, you did the time. And we're saying, yes, this person over here stole it. They didn't have to steal it because they had money to buy it.
Okay.
This person came from a background they didn't. Not that they don't need to be punished, but part of their punishment, you might need to put tools in and saying, I'm going to make you go do this community service. I'm going to make you do this. Plus, I'm going to give you opportunity. We're going to see if we can find some resources so that you can go and take this class that may lead you to a better opportunity to get employment.
That's good.
That's what I'm saying, knowing where people come back. Or like, for instance, if you grew up in a family where somebody said, say it again, I'm gonna bop you in your mouth, right? And so you saying back in your mom, you're talking back to your mom, and next thing you know, you go, oh, you got a lick in your mouth.
Yeah.
Somebody call CPS, right? Mm-hmm. And so we don't want people abusing their children. So instead of saying we're going to take your children from you, I can look in that person, I can say, okay, it came from this background. Maybe they need parenting skills to show them there are other ways to discipline their children. And so that they can bring their children back in their family so they can grow and become a strong, productive family still together, but with different tools. That's bringing somebody up to the same playing field. That makes sense? It's kind of like leveling things off so that you still get your punishment, but we need to get some stuff to say why your punishment. And to that person, their punishment to them may feel like it's harsher because they know the trauma that they incurred. You know, like my mom would tell me, sometimes like she would punish us and say, and she would call it the doghouse. You're gonna be put in the doghouse, right? And that means we couldn't go outside. Well, to my sister, that was punishment. Because she loved to be outside. Me, I'm like, I'm reading. This is good. I'm in here anyway. But you know, so it's like, it could be the same punishment, but it affects people differently. And so my mom might say, you're not going to me, she could have said, well, you know, you're going to go outside. You're going to have to spend, instead of saying 6 hours, like my sister gets 6 hours, she might say, you stay 3 hours in the house, 3 hours outside.
Good.
You know.
But I'm really thankful that you put in there that community service, because I think so many times we always think of a judge just sending somebody to jail. But then I also like the fact that you talked about those resources that you will also equip that individual with, you know, because I think sometimes about like a person that steals diapers, you know, they could be stealing anything else, but you know, if they don't have diapers, I'm not saying it's right, but you know, I like the fact that you're saying it's still a punishment, but you're also you give them those resources, and maybe it's a community service that they could also be doing as well. I want to give a shout out to Regina. I almost called you Regina Patterson. She just got married. Regina Hill. She said this is so informational. Also, shout out to Christy, who is Jana's mama. Shout out to Chrissy for allowing Jana to be on the show as well. Also, shout out to Katrina, who is allowing Kentrell to be on the show as well. But Chrissy and Regina, make sure you go ahead and share this video now so that more people will know about what it looks like to actually be a judge. But Chrissy asked the question. It was a really good question. She said, do you have to be voted in, or can you apply to be a judge?
So from the position that I am in, it requires voting. Sometimes there are positions that you can get appointed to, like federal judges appointed. And if there's a vacancy left in a district court, the governor can appoint to those positions. But here in Texas and in Harris County, where I am, we are voted in by the people in our community, which I think is a good thing, because judges have to be impartial, but you also want them to be representative of the communities in which they serve.
Okay. So now, with being voted in, if a judge is 100 years old and they've been doing a great job, is it their decision to retire, or I know they work for Houston, or does Houston say, okay, you're this age, you have to be let go? You know what I'm saying? Is it, you know, until they're tired of doing that job, is that when they leave?
There's an age limit as to when you can be elected as for your first time. But I have seen people work past a certain age, but the judges usually, because I'm thinking I'm gonna be there for a long time. So the judges usually just retire out.
Got you.
The ones that I've seen.
Because I was just thinking about, because you were saying it has to be a spot available, you know, and so if there's no spots available, then nobody could be another judge until there's a spot.
Well, actually, so what happens is when, for my bench, that was not available. I ran against someone and defeated them.
Okay.
So when you're elected, my term is every 4 years. There's some terms are every 2 years, some are every 6 years. And so you have to, I have to earn it. Every 4 years, I have to earn this position. And so that gives people a time to look and kind of evaluate you to see what kind of judge, what kind of judge you've been, to see if they want you to continue there. But sometimes it's a lot, it's politics. That's the part that I don't like, but that's just how it is. Because sometimes somebody may be voted out and they may be a good judge. It may have be just they made somebody mad and somebody got a vendetta to make sure, you know, but I tell people you have the time that you have. So that whatever time I have, I want to do the best that I can and leave the footprint that I can leave there for the time that I've been there.
And Judge Dunson, so you just said something, explaining it to a middle schooler, high schooler, what does the phrase "it's just politics" mean?
Okay, so let me think about it, how you can do it. I'm trying to put it into them. Okay, so do y'all have student government? Kentrell and
Jana.
Okay, so, Jana. Okay, so you don't have like a student representative you can run for any elections in school?
I'm homeschooled, so I don't think I had that at my old school when I went there. We had something kind of different, I think.
Okay, so Kentrell, okay, you know, like in student government, the kids run a campaign, right? And
this is my first year of high school, so I don't know
okay,
too much.
so I'll just put it like this. I'm trying to put it in. So do any of y'all play sports?
No.
Okay.
So what was the name of that? Judge Dustin, one moment. Jana, what was the name, or even Kentrell, what was the name of that movie where they had to get the students to vote for them and they was running for like president, but it was a dance, it was like some type of dance movie. Or like for them to be the team captain, like the people have to vote for them. Are there any movies like that you can remember?
Okay. So it's just like that. Like if you have to pick between 3 people, right? So the people go and the people got to convince you that they're the one that you should pick. So they may do different things to get you to do them. And so say one of them knows that you like chocolate candy. So they're gonna come and say, Jana, come on. I got some chocolate candy over here. And they're gonna bring you chocolate candy every day. So when you get ready to go vote for them, you're gonna say, well, they bought me about chocolate candy. You're not gonna look at the qualities that it takes for that position, right? And somebody else may come and say, well, I know she likes candy. Oh, I see her, she's giving her chocolate candy. But she don't know she likes popcorn. I'm taking her popcorn. Right?
Chocolate covered popcorn.
I'm taking a chocolate covered popcorn because she likes popcorn too. So they bringing you all this stuff. Now, you have this other third person who is working very hard. She's done everything that she knows to do. She's always been involved in the community. She doesn't have the money to buy you popcorn. She don't have the money to buy you chocolate, but she has the passion. She has the compassion. She has all the attributes that it takes for that judge, for that position to represent the people, right? But you get clouded, your vision get clouded because you got a sugar overdose. All right. So that's politics, where there may be somebody in a position who may be doing well in that position, but somebody comes along for whatever reason and decide they want that position, and they can tell lies on you. They can they can catch something that you say and pick up a certain section of it, but don't tell the whole truth surrounding it. So to give a message out that is not true. And they can come out and they can, like somebody played on your emotions of loving the chocolate, and they play, on sentiments and other than the real issues that are facing the people and people seeing who they are.
Mm-hmm.
That's politics.
Yeah, and I think that's a great I always mess up this word. That's a great explanation. Christy said that as well. But Judge Dunson, how do you not become discouraged in what the results will be if, let's say, for example, you don't have all that money to be buying Jana chocolate covered popcorn and Kentrail, maybe some new socks or something, like how, and you're focused on, I just want to work for the people. I want to work for, I want to make sure the school is doing Jana good and Kentrail good. How do you not become discouraged when you don't have those materialistic things that you could give to the people, but you're going to do a good job?
So all you have is you, and that's all you need. So you give the people you. So you have to have your message, and you got to keep saying the message. You got to keep getting to the people, keep saying the message until enough people hear you. Mm-hmm. You have to be true to you. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to get caught up in the facade, and you want to remain true to your mission, true to your passion, true to who you are.
Yeah.
And what if it doesn't happen for you that time? And you also have to know that you learn from whatever your experiences is, and you don't know, like your steps, that step may not be preparing you for what you thought it was preparing you for. Mm-hmm. But it's preparing you for something. Mm-hmm. So I think that's keeping your focus and knowing what your purpose is and trusting that your steps are ordered. Mm-hmm. And not getting discouraged.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So talk to us a little bit about, because I thought it was really good how you were saying, like, know your purpose, but how do you not say to yourself, well, this candidate John looks like they're doing so much better. How do you stop yourself and say, I'm going to just be Judge Dunson and I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do and not try to do what somebody else is doing?
That's a very good question. And that I deal with that totally all the time, right? Because you hear things and you see things, and I say, I can't get distracted, okay? So you have to remember that when you look over, say it's two people are sitting side by side eating, right? One eating a hamburger, one eating whatever, say a hot dog. And don't be concerned about the hamburger if you're eating a hot dog, because the hamburger is not going to be nutrition to your body. Do you understand? What somebody else eats does not provide nutrition for your body. So I have to keep focused, and and for me, I consider myself a very spiritual person. I have to stay focused, and I say, I have to know that's what's for me. Mm-hmm. I got to know what my beliefs is, where my faith lies. Yeah. So I can't look over there. That's not for me. I don't care what they say. I had that. I mean, when I ran, I had an opponent, and people were saying stuff. My opponent would say stuff. They wrote letters, sent them out to a whole bunch of people. And And everybody was like, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? I say, I'm going to stay focused.
Yeah.
I said, because that letter that they just wrote is going to be their downfall.
Mm-hmm.
And it was.
Mm-hmm. That's
But
good.
I say, I got to run my race, because if I stop running my race and start fighting a fight that I don't have to fight, you have to pick your battles.
Yeah.
And so that's what you have to do. You have to know, you got to focus on your passion, your goals and objectives that you set for you, and care about people around you, but don't covet what someone else has, because that may not be your blessing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. So Jana, what's your next question for Judge Dunson?
Okay, so my next question is, so is there any kind of pressure that you might have while being a judge?
Yes. So so when I became a judge, I got to hire some people, right? So those people employment depends on me, their continuing employment. So I have to get reelected to not only keep my job, but I have to get elected so that they can keep their job. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And
Think about that.
Yes. And so and that's one pressure. And then I have the pressure of, which is the biggest pressure, is making sure that I've made the right ruling and making sure that I've protected the children that come in my court.
With that though, Judge Dunson, if a judge was ever to feel they did a ruling and then let's say they slept on it for like 2 days, could they ever go back and change their ruling?
I do it.
Really? I didn't know that could happen.
Yes, I do it. And I think about it and I tell them we can reform our judgments.
Okay.
And I do it. If I think about it and if it's something that comes before me and at that moment, I don't feel like I would make the right decision, that I need to review stuff more, then I do that. I call it taking it under advisement.
Mm.
So I may have to go and may have to read statutes. I want to research a little bit more. I want to look through the evidence that the people presented to me to make sure that I'm interpreting that evidence right. And you want to get it right. And sometimes with even all that, you don't get it right.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay if the people give you an opportunity. Like, for instance, if I do something and somebody appeals my decision and it goes up to another court and they say, oh, you didn't get that right, go back and try to do it again. That's okay, because it's another opportunity to get it right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So Kentrell, what's your next question?
Okay, so my next question is, how has becoming a judge changed your life?
Good question.
So it has kind of made me a little bit more reclusive.
What does that mean?
Okay, so the position that I'm in, you have to understand you're affecting families. That's a very emotional time. So you have people that may threaten your life. You have to be more careful on the people that you surround yourself with, because everybody may not have your best interests at heart.
Mm.
And you don't want people you don't know what cases are in your court. Every case, it's thousands of cases, but somebody could be around you discussing a case. You're not supposed to discuss cases that are in your court, right? And it's just a lot of things that you have to be weary of. I tell people it's a sacred position, but you have to I become more cognizant of the circumstances of people and not to do implicit, because we all have implicit biases. Mm-hmm. Y'all know what that is? Jane and Kentrell? Okay, so implicit biases is when you prejudge something or someone because of something that you have unconsciously been surrounding yourself with. And you think, like you see somebody and you say, like you see somebody on, I'm just gonna say the way they dress. Somebody has shorts on, and so you think that person, you label them, right?
Mhm.
But you haven't gotten a chance to know them. Or like for instance, y'all know when y'all heard the term like baby daddy,
Yes.
right? So say if somebody come to court and they have 3 children and the children have 3 different fathers, right?
Mhm.
So you could think, you could judge them, but you don't know anything about them. And that doesn't mean that they're a bad person. You don't know how the situation that came about that you had 3 different fathers. The main thing is that she's doing right by the children.
Mhm. Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that type, or for instance, if say I'm in court and somebody come in with pants hanging down and I don't, you know what I mean? Let me get to know the character of the person. Don't let me see who they are before I decide. Or you may say something, how people say all Black people are, and you fill in the blank. That's implicit bias, because all Black people are not that.
Mhm.
But you've been taught through growing up and seeing stuff that this attribute goes to this group of people, this attribute goes to that people. If somebody walks and comes and have a tattoo on them, that means they're this. Those implicit biases.
Mhm. And I'm glad that you brought that up. Do you feel that there's any additional challenges that you feel Black females or even Black male judges face that other white judges do not face? What are 2 of them, if you think so?
So just disrespect from the beginning. We a lot of us came in. So being approached with disrespect, saying certain things, people assuming that you don't have the knowledge or the ability, or that you just shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know that you should be there. That's why you're there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you have to know that who you are and your worth, your value, define yourself. Never let anyone else define you.
Yeah. So Judge Dunson, with that though, what is one thing that you do that really helps you to maintain and remember your self-worth? Because this is not just like, it just doesn't end when you became a judge. You know,
Right.
You have to deal with this, I'm gonna say crap, daily maybe. So how do you remind yourself of your self-worth? What do you do?
Okay, so one thing that growing up, and it's a wonderful thing, growing up in our community, we even when it's like you have to live two lives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you grow up knowing that you have value. So your parents, your community, your church leaders, they let you know that you're special and that you have value. So you already know when you go out and face the world that you have value. So there's nothing to remind you. No need to remind you, just know that you have value. And that's why it's so important for minorities that they have people that's so into their lives, like different people from different professionals, and they have family, because we have a lot of fictive kin. You know, you have aunties that are not really your aunties. That's your mom's best friends that you call aunties, and grandparents and people that sow into your life that tell you good, positive things. And you have to know, even if nobody else tells them, that you were created. The fact that you're here, you came here with a purpose. You were put here for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And that you are valuable. You came through your mom, you came through your dad, but they're not the ones that sent you here. Okay?
Yeah.
You were sent here for a purpose.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So Kentrell, what's your next question?
Okay, so my next question is, does your family ask you like a lot of law questions all the time?
Hold on for 1 minute, Kentrell. So let me ask you something, Kentrell, right quick. Let me see. Hold on.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry.
So repeat your question for us, Kentrell.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Apologize for that.
It's okay. Does your family ask you a lot of law questions all the time?
Yes.
You said that.
And I tell them they do. And I tell them I don't practice that area. I don't practice in that area. One thing about becoming a judge is we're not allowed to give legal advice.
Yeah.
So now I can say I don't give legal advice.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. So now finish this sentence, Judge Dunson. If your child enjoys doing these two things, they should consider becoming a judge.
If they enjoy, I would say reading, and if they find themselves always being the one who is mediating or negotiating or coming between settling arguments, they're the ones who that seem to have a heart for the people. So if they seem like they have a heart from the people, they like reading because there's a lot of reading involved. I think those things are important. I mean, you have to be able to do critical thinking too. So liking math helps because you have to think critically in approaching math. So, and I look back over my life and the things that I enjoyed most growing up, I was the one who was always had a book. And I was the one that was always fighting on behalf of others.
That's good. That's good. So Jana, what's your next question?
Okay, so my next question is, so the next question I have is, why did you really choose to be a judge?
Okay, so this is, I tell people, it was chosen for me. Okay, and so I look back over my life and all the things that I was involved in, and even going to law school, the different things that I did. And you know, growing up, people would say, you always like to argue. I never really liked to argue. But it's the things I tried. It's really interesting because my first major in college was computer science.
Okay.
Because they say, you know, you are good in math. And then I said, okay, let me try accounting because this computer thing, I don't understand this computer stuff. So I did accounting and they said, well, that was working with numbers. I said, but it's not working with people. And so then I said, okay, let me do psychology. And so in psychology, and I'm sort of like Kentrell, I with my family, I watched injustices. I felt there were injustices in my family, with siblings going to jail, cousins going to jail, just and the people in the community going to jail. I watched injustices and it seemed like nothing I could do. And when I went to become psychologist, to study psychology and sociology, I started seeing how the system was formed and how the way we interact with people and the way we think about people is why we set up laws. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I said, if that's the case, then I need to, I need to be in there with the laws, and I can understand the laws and see how I can apply those laws to help the people. Because that's what they're supposed to do. It's supposed to protect people, but it's supposed to protect innocent people. It's supposed to punish bad people, but the basis of the way they were written is to make sure that innocent people don't go to jail, but a lot of innocent people go.
Yeah.
And that may be because of who is making decisions on why they go. And if you have implicit biases, and that you look at somebody and you label them when they stand before you because you prejudge them because of preconceived notions you have about them, that makes a difference. So being able to get myself to a position that I can make a difference. But I feel that this was chosen for me because my path, I tried different paths that I was choosing for myself. They all led to coming back to this.
That's so interesting, though, that you were not discouraged because you were in cosmetology, all those years, and you weren't discouraged, and you were bold enough to go back to school and, do everything that you needed to do in order to reach that professional goal that you wanted to do. Because that could be, it's like, look, I'm in my 30s. I'm a beautician, and I'm doing my thing. So like, why shake things up? Oh,
so yeah.
Why did you do that?
So I was always academic. And the fact that I went to school and then I didn't finish school, that's something left undone that I knew I could do. But let me tell you how I got back in school. There was this young lady who had come, I think she was from Iran. She'd come over here and she was about, I think 16 when she got here. And she started working part-time in the boutique that was attached to the salon where I worked. And she was getting ready to go out of high school, and she wanted to be a doctor, and she did not she wanted to go in one of those kind of like Ivy League schools, but she didn't get in. And so she would have to go to a community college. And she felt that was beneath her and all this. So I talked to her and I said, do it. I said, I'll tell you what, if you go, I'll go.
Really?
If you go, I'll go, because you need to go and you need to get your education. You can do your two years at this community college, and then you can transfer into the school that you think you deserve to be in.
So what did you do? You went to the HBCU as she was going to community college?
I went to community college.
And what did you study? What was your major?
I went to community college and I just did general studies. And then from there I went to, so remember I had left Huntsville and went to college. Remember I told you it was predominantly white?
Yeah.
So I went back there and finished my bachelor's degree.
Okay.
And then I went to law school at the HBCU. And then there's you can get a master's degree of law. So then I went and did a master's degree of law in tax law.
Oh, so you were still working with those numbers. But was that your plan? I know that you were saying you was just more so doing this to help that young lady. Was it your plan to just continue on?
Yes. So I did it she's the one who got me going back. I wanted to go back, but it gave me a reason to go back because it was to help her and encourage her.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. And so I went back, but you have to understand, all the time, I've always been involved in community service. So even that's where my heart was. So I would volunteer, doing volunteer stuff all around. But I was going to school for all these things because I thought I was intellectual. I was always taught I was academic, but my heart was in the community for the people, whatever I could do to help the people. And the things that were my intellectual self were going to isolate me from the people, like being an accountant or tax. You somewhere in the office away from people.
Yeah. So Kentrell, what's your next question?
Okay, so my next question is, what was your motivation during your years of college?
Getting at the end of it.
Or like for like the whole like college part, like during school.
Okay, I
like
knew
for the judge.
So I needed to do it for myself because I wanted a better life for myself. I had family, like I was the first in my family to go to college. So, and I had nieces and nephews. I wanted to change the trajectory of my family. So I went so that they can see an example of someone who went through college, got the degree. So it was for me and for my family. And that was motivating enough for me.
That's good. Jana, what's your next question?
So my next question is, so what do you enjoy doing when you're not ruling in court?
Reading. I don't get to read as much for pleasure because I read so much at work. I love watching movies, like thriller movies. I like traveling. I love playing cards like spades. You know how to play spades?
I don't think so.
Girl, you gotta learn.
Come on, Katrina and Chrissy, y'all gotta teach them how to play spades.
Y'all gotta play. They gotta know bid, wits, and spades. How they gonna go off to college and not know how to play bid, wits, and spades?
Yeah. So let me ask you something, Judge Dunson. What is one thing you would tell your younger self?
My younger self, that's a long time ago. I would tell myself, okay, remember, stay focused. Define yourself. Don't allow anybody else to define you. Know your passion. These are things I tell my nieces and stuff. I just know your passion. You set goals, you stay focused and endure, knowing that you're going to face challenges, but endure. If you endure, you will get to your goal, and tell yourself that you can be whatever or whomever you want to be. No holds barred. And you have to be willing to do what it takes to get you to your goals. Sometimes it may take you longer, but that's okay. It's about the journey. It's about the journey. And use whatever happens in your life to learn and use that to improve you and help to improve the circumstances of the people around you.
That's good. That's good. So now I know that Kentrell is interested in becoming a judge, and we have so many other individuals that's interested in becoming a judge as well. Speaking just to our future judges, Judge Dunson, what would you say to them about this upcoming journey for them?
Okay, so if that's what you want to be and that's your passion, just say that's what you're going to be, and don't see yourself as doing anything else other than that. So then you need to hone your skills. So if you are in school and they have debate teams, get in debate team because you need to know how to properly argue. If you have a chance to take any type of logical thinking classes, like philosophy, take it because that's going to increase your critical thinking ability. Don't be afraid of math. So math is only, no matter what you do, whether you're using numbers or letters. You can only add it, subtract it, divide it, and multiply it, period. Okay? So don't be afraid of math. That's going to help you with your critical thinking.
I like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Read and be able to comprehend what you're reading, because you're going to have to read a lot of books, a lot of statutes, and you need to be able to understand that so that you can analyze it and interpret it properly. So, and you need to, if you like to write, because you have to be able to write. So you got to have subject verbs agreement. And you may have a link, sometimes like in our community, we, some people call it Ebonics or whatever, but we have a language that we speak. So you have to know when to go in and out, code switching, what they used to call it back in the day. You got to know when you use that language, when you don't. And and some people, don't be ashamed of where you come from. Okay. Mm-hmm. Never be ashamed of where you come from. Because you were, okay. Remember I say you didn't come here, you came through your parents, but you didn't come from your parents. So wherever you came from, selected that place for you to start. Because it's going to be a character in you. So remember that.
Yeah.
And consider yourself as a chosen one. If you're going to be singing and acting, you're the chosen one. If you're going to be a judge, you're the chosen one.
That's good.
So you have to keep your integrity intact. You learn how to listen, because listening and hearing are two crucial skills and critical skills in becoming a judge. Mm-hmm. Because you have to be able to listen to what people say, but you got to hear what they're saying. That makes sense? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So take classes that help you hone those skills. Find mentors that have the attributes that you like. If it's watching lawyers first, find mentors. If it's sitting in court, watching the judge, and approach the judge and tell them who you are and tell them what your interests are and ask them, would they be your mentor?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. And one thing that I forgot that we were able to do when I was in high school, we was able, this was a class assignment. We was actually able to go to one of our courts and actually see the ruling. And that was just so interesting to me. First, because we got to get out of school, but then yes. Second, we got to actually see like a court case going on. And just a couple of things that you touched on. If you need help with speaking, ask your parents if it's okay if you join something like Toastmasters. That's something yes. That's nationwide, that can yes. definitely help you in your speaking abilities. Also, make sure you have a library card. Your library is going to be your yes. best friend for resources. Yes. Definitely make sure you ask your parents if you can go to that library, and I'm telling you, free books. I mean, how can you go wrong with that? And the librarians know so much about different resources in your community. Do not be afraid to approach them and ask them questions. So last question for you, Judge Dunson. Why did you want to be a part of the Today I Want to Be products?
To be an inspiration, to provide hope, and to encourage young people that they can be whoever they want to be. Mm-hmm. It happened for me, and I want to make sure that it continues to happen for others. So that's why it's important for me, and that's why I want to be a part of the program, just to be an inspiration.
That's good. And you are definitely such an inspiration, and I'm just saying that just because I love how you just didn't, your whole life is about not giving up. You went into a different career field, you did start college, and then you stopped for a while and you went back. So your life is definitely a testimony of us, even if you are going in a different direction. If God puts it on your heart to become something else, become passionate about other things, it's nothing wrong with detour to say, what, I'm gonna go back to school. Let me go ahead and get this X, Y, and Z degree. But thank you so much, Judge Dunson, for just taking time to talk to us a lot more about what the life of a judge actually looks like. I definitely thank you, Kentrell, as well as Jana, for being able to talk to Judge Dunson, and shout out to your parents as well for just taking time to allow you guys to ask us questions. I know that this is the beginning of the school year. I hope that Jana and Kentrell, I hope that you guys are definitely just encouraged this new school year. Going into a new grade is always exciting as well. If you guys are interested in our next career exploration interview, is actually going to be next week, August 19th at 7 p.m. Now, if you love bugs, if you are not afraid of bugs, this is the professional you need to interview. It's going to be Alfonso Ferguson. He is a pest control technician. Now, that is definitely not the job for me, because I take the shoe at them. But but if you are interested in your child or student interviewing Alonzo, make sure you go to our description box, and right there, that link, you can actually sign them up to interview Alonzo. Also, if you're interested in any of our products that Judge Dunson is featured in, as well as our other professionals, make sure you go to that little buggy that's next to that that link that's next to that little buggy. Make sure you go ahead and click there. You can explore our different flashcards that we have as well. We definitely hope that you guys have a great remainder of the night, and we thank you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Today I Want to Be, our career exploration interview, and we will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.